Hello, hello. I am recording this from Hong Kong. I'm back in Hong Kong for the week, and I love this topic because so today's topic is all about essentially do you feel if you are like too weird or too silly or even too shy, too quiet, especially in this online world, like if you have a business and you're wanting to get your business out there and your message out there. I hear that a lot, that you feel like you have to be so noisy these days. And so if you even feel like you're too shy or too sensitive, so all these like to this, to that, to this, to that, to actually, and then really it's insert anything there, right? So to start a business, grow your business, be a public speaker, do video online, be successful. What's happening here? And so all these things are our own, judgments, our own fears about ourselves, of why we are it's like this is this inner critic work, right? Why we are not, it's convinced we are not this enough, or we are too this. And the whole thing I want to talk to you about today is how I want to remind you that all of those extra ways that you are what make you uniquely you, and how important it is that you know that that is actually your own very most special sauce that you can share with the world. So I want to share with you a little bit about my story, and hopefully it'll help some of you on your path. And it's a story that I don't tell very often, but essentially, I think that so many people can see me and look at me and feel like it's so easy for me that, that it just comes so easily to me, and in large part, maybe I've just been doing it for so long. I've literally been recording videos online now for oh my gosh, so many years. I can't even remember. Long time. So that is easy. I have gotten up on stages now for the last 10 years. And so I'm a really extroverted person, and I love people. And it's not even that I like the spotlight. It's actually that I just really love people, and I love connecting with people and love teaching people. And so it's been really easy for me to share through the medium of video and speaking. But I will say that there is still elements, of course, of me that, that whole kind of to this or to that, or not enough this, not enough that, that I have really had to overcome in my life. And so I'm going to take it really far back to essentially when I was kind of my whole life, in one way or the other, honestly, I have been very sensitive. I have definitely been I was a very sensitive kid. I was an only child and was really sensitive, and that was actually really hard. It's, as for any of you guys watching, being a sensitive child is really challenging, because especially in the situation that I was in growing up, where I had a single mom, and I felt like she really needed, she was just working all the time. And so I was very much too much in her world, not even maybe because of me, but just of everything that she had going on. I very much felt too much, but I was really sensitive, and I was the only child, and I had a single mom who worked all the time and wasn't around a lot. And so that created a really sensitive child that, but I quickly got the message early on to, just pull it together and be a good sport, and really start, not being so sensitive, and start being sensitive for other people's feelings, and making sure that I was taking care of other people's feelings. And so my sensitivities about me really became about, taking care of my mom, and then that compounded actually when she got married to an alcoholic, a narcissistic alcoholic, and when I was like 12 or 13. So in my early formative teen years, when you're just feeling so like awkward and not even knowing who you are as it is, right? And unfortunately, the really big message that I got from him was just that I didn't know. And so completely invalidating my voice of even knowing. And so all of those things that I've gone through, I'm total Reader's Digest, like wrapping them up for you in a pretty short, fast way. But I will just say that like my using my voice, my speaking up, my knowing how to speak up for my own needs, knowing how to say, you know, what I believed and speak up and know that is true within me, and also that it's going to be heard. Like all those pieces, right? Like I've had them too. And one thing that I know to be true, and when I started my businesses, one of my mini businesses way back in like 2003, and then in like 2003, 2004, one of the things that I loved about that business, so I way back, like my former life now, it feels like, I did web design and development. And I loved it because at that time I was going to tons of shows. I was like totally going to tons of rock shows. And at that time I was just, you know, like basically like I didn't have a job. I was like, I own my own business now. I can go to shows like 4 or 5 nights a week if I want to. And then I would wake up and like do my work all day, and I rocked it. I had like an amazing client list, and did amazingly well. Like my first year out, like made more than my last full-time job, and so I was rocking it and loving it. And one thing that I loved is that my clients, like I was a massive blogger back then, and so I had this huge blogging platform. That's actually how I got a lot of my jobs. Also going to shows and like knowing this huge community of showgoers, like music rockers in San Francisco, that those peeps were also my huge like referral base for business. So TicketWeb actually at the time, TicketWeb was a big client of mine, and so I would, you know, they'd also like score me concert tickets every once in a while, and so that was so fun. And one thing that I just really learned early on is that, you know, here I was blogging about all the shows I was going to, and I was going to like live shows all the time. And what I loved is that my client base they totally loved who I was. I didn't have to hide that I was like totally into rock shows and I was going to live music 4 or 5 nights a week. Like I was blogging that. I was blogging like, you know, photos of me having like the best time ever. But all my clients, they wanted to work with me because of who I was. They knew that I was also obviously like on top of it and was able to like show up and not go MIA. I was really great at like staying on top of all jobs, which is like more than you can say for a lot of people doing web design and development. But back then, you know, this is like 2003, 2004, that the fact that I just remember really getting in my head, like, I love that I can get paid for who I am, that I didn't have to be anyone else, but that I just had to like show up, do great work, and I could still go and continue to, you know, go to my rock shows. So that's like one of the first ways that I started realizing that I could really get paid to be who I am. And that's really what I hope for everyone, because I think there's a lot of people that have corporate jobs or situations where they feel like they can't be fully who they are. But I actually feel no matter where you are, that the more you bring to your role, the more you bring to your relationship in your life, with your friendships, your, you know, marketing, your business, anything that you're doing, and you're just allowing yourself to be so fully you, that is like the best. I had that client the other day that was just like, she was like really scared to do video, and she was like, you know, maybe if I put on like some like costume, you know, that I could do it. And I was like, go go for it. You know, like if that's what makes you feel, because she actually does like do fun like hula hooping, and so I can totally see her actually like putting on her, as she calls them, her sparkling knickers, and because she's British, and going for it. And I love that. Like if that like helps you be so extra you and so fully you, then freaking go for it, right? So especially in business, I will say that I see this all the time, that people are, you know, just doing this comparison game. They're feeling like they're, you know, not smart enough, or they're not funny enough, or they're not, you know, whatever it may be. Like everyone just like stacks these excuses that of these not enough, or that they're too this or they're too that. And my big message for you is I just want you to bring all that two-ness, all that extra-ness, and that's what makes you so uniquely you. Look at all the people out there that you just like love them for who they are. You know, you love them for their personalities, and it doesn't mean that they're probably, you know, especially if they're in any kind of limelight, they're getting like some haters. Like, great examples actually are, I mean, there's so many examples, anyone who's in the limelight really, but like, you know, for example, Amy Schumer, she's so fully who she is, and she's absolutely freaking hilarious. Sarah Silverman, same thing. She's so fully who she is. She pisses a lot of people off, but she's so like unapologetically who she is. And there's actually a great video that, speaking of, that is this woman, blanking on her name, but she's writes all about like just being totally fully unapologetically you. And I'll send you a link to the TED Talk. Is it a TED Talk that she did, because it's so good, and it's exactly this. And actually one of my clients all the time, I'm like, go watch this, because one of my clients, she actually has so much like anger and fire, and she gets pissed off about things, and I'm like, first of all, I'm always telling her, like, your anger does not scare me. Like, I see it as that she is, like, passionate. She's fiery about things. She has a big opinions about things. And I'm like, awesome. Frickin' share that with the world. And so she's been starting to get on Facebook Lives and just, like, I'm like, rant, like, you know, and so she'll outline it, and she's got a really clear picture about what she wants to say. But I'm like, yes, like, get that out there. And people are reacting. Like, it's the whole piece of this, and everything underneath this is all about making sure that first of all, you're not waiting for permission. So, you know, like that someone's going to kind of come over and validate, like, okay, cool. Yep. You're just right in this area. You're just right in this area. Like that'll be socially acceptable. Like, fuck everyone else, right? For what they say is okay. So that's a big piece of this, is like, being unapologetically you means you're not getting permission from anyone. Means you're not waiting for someone to tell you that you are okay to do this. You're not waiting for someone to tell you that, you know, yeah, like just being unapologetically you. First of all, who the hell else are you going to be? Who else are you going to be? Be fully you. And be just unapologetically you. You've got big opinions. Like, we're all a work in progress, but like, share your big opinions, right? Be super silly. Be like, you know, super loving. Be sensitive. That's okay too. You know, all the things that make you so uniquely you, the more you're willing to turn the dial up on that, like, not play small, right? Not try to fit in a box or in the expectations of what other people want you to stay in, but instead to really fully allow yourself to be just completely who you are in all senses of the word, and to own that, and to really know that that's actually, you know, you being uniquely you is your superpower. And the more you are so fully and uniquely you, and that is actually going to be what, right? I love it. That is going to be what magnetizes people towards you. And so, you know, it's basically, another beautiful way to say this is like, when you start speaking your truth, and when you start, this is all about alignment as well, that I do with my clients all the time, is like, when you are in alignment with who you are, and you are, you know, totally doubling down on your genius and what you love to do in this life and in this world, and you're letting it come through, even if it feels scary or totally like crazy, and you can even, you know, especially if you're embodying like new things that are coming through you and it's feeling just terrifying. Like, I've been there. I totally know what that feels like, where you're just like, I feel like a freaking alien right now, and I feel like everyone is looking at me like I have 6 heads and they don't get me, and I don't even know if I get myself right now, you know. And like feeling that really, like, if you're feeling kind of just shaky as you're sort of evolving into this new, you're kind of in this metamorphosis process, and into a new evolved you, and you're still getting on a handle on like kind of what's coming through, that's totally normal, and it's okay. And the more you're actually, though, able to ground and like speak that truth and let it through, and not be scared of what it's going to sound like, or if people aren't going to like you. It's all very, like, very tribal stuff, I know you may have heard of, but it's really important to recognize that the more you are fully you, as crazy and silly and wild and opinionated, or, you know, or even just sensitive or spiritual, or, you know, hilarious, like, you know, and it doesn't mean you have to be an entertainer, but what it does get you, regardless of like whether that means you're big and you're, you know, being like the next Gary Vee, or if it just means that you're, you know, sharing your wisdom with amongst, you know, your people in your crowd or in your business, or, you know, blogging or doing whatever it is to grow your business. It means that you are allowing your full light to shine. And you're not apologizing for it. You're not holding it back. You're not afraid. You're not stuck in that afraidness of people not liking you or accepting you. Because that is the one biggest prison that we put ourselves in, is this prison that we have to have other people like us, that we have to be a certain way for other people to like us. And as soon as you start, you are the one that can literally like open that door and step out of that prison and be fully you, be unapologetically you. And it is the most liberating and freeing thing. And I'll tell you, if you're young and you're watching this, you get this with age. It's like the gift you get for like turning in some years as you do. And anyone watching who knows that, like, raise the roof, because I'll tell you what, that is like the greatest gift of getting older, is you just start giving way less F's, you know, way less care about what other people think, because you start realizing that not everyone is going to love you. In fact, my one of my mentors says this, which I just love, is that there's going to be people who don't even like you, who don't like you just by you stepping in the room. Just by you walking in the room, they will not like you. And so you haven't even opened your mouth. You haven't even shown them like how extra you can get, how, you know, crazy you are, and they just, you know. So the thing is there's going to be people who don't like you just by you walking down the street. You cannot please everyone. You cannot, not everyone will like you. Like, just done, signed and delivered, done deal. So for you to go around constantly trying to like please everyone and make everyone happy or make everyone like you is futile, absolutely impossible. And while of course you want to have like this great you know, response, you want to have a great you know, the whole outcome, you've heard me ask this question before, is like the outcome that you desire. You want to make sure that your business is successful and it's raving and that everyone loves you and everything's going great. And I am here to tell you that the absolute magic key to that is for you to be fully who you are. And it might, you know, piss some people off. Some people might like it. Cool. Literally, like, let that be totally fine, because the people that are going to be magnetized to your truth are going to be more in alignment and who you want in your life anyway. You know, you want people that are just totally loving who you are, and not just who you are and who you have been, but who you are becoming. And as that changes and shifts and evolves, you also need to continue to be so truthful with yourself and for yourself, that you're being able to draw in the people who are going to get you and support you and feed you and be able to like guide you on this path of evolution. So go forth and be fully unapologetically you. And I also have a program that's really, really powerful for this, especially when it comes to the inner critic and the messages. And so I'll put that link in the comments here that helps you essentially rewrite these scripts. So if you have some limiting beliefs of like, you know, I'm too this, or nobody likes this, or there's no way I'm going to ever be able to do this because of this, or all those things, like let's rewrite those scripts because they are not serving you. And there is a way, and I know you actually probably already hold another truth, right? It's like we've got this side of our inner critic that wants to be like so loud and say, you know, you suck and this is never gonna work and, you know, all these things, right? But there's over here, there's a small part of you that's like, I'm a badass, like I know what I'm talking about, and or like I'm really, you know, it's like there's parts of you that do love yourself, and what just ends up happening is that this inner critic gets really loud, and we need to turn up this dial, just like Sally commented and reflected. It's so true. So rock on with your bad selves, and do some likes and some loves on this if you can relate, or you love it, or you just really want to support others and being fully them as well. And I'll pop you some links here in the comments, and hope you have an awesome day being fully, amazingly, unapologetically you.